This was going to be the next review after Grimlock, but the purple potato preempted Prime on Punday. Well, the alliteration died. Long live the death of alliteration. Fun fact, I actually really dislike alliteration. It's just rhyming that doesn't flow. But I understand that others enjoy it, so I include it. You can all thank Thew for giving me the ability to tolerate it, cause without him showing me how it can be charming, there's no way I could bear doing it myself. But that man could honestly make belching out an entire review charming. So people will probably be very mad at me for this, but I like this way more than the Earthrise Prime. It's got way better proportions than the Earthrise figure, and they charged what it was worth. They didn't tack on some useless garbage and double the price. He's a Legends Optimus, and that's what you pay. He's also not trying to rip off Shockwave's Z-Cups. What's that noise? Anyways, so Kingdom Optimus Prime. Honestly, this is a strange looking figure. I mean, he's very Optimus Prime, absolutely unmistakable, better proportion than the Earthrise, but not perfectly so. His arms are a little fat, the waist is a bit odd, and there is a whole heap of ugly kibble clogging up the back. The elbows are on these odd, crooked, off-center ball joints, and the shoulder pipes have air cuts for the ball sockets. The right hand on mine has a tendency to flex its way out of its ports and fall off. I'd honestly say that that's my biggest problem with the figure, and I don't think that the back panel actually tabs in. The backs of his wrists are a little on the unfortunate side. For some reason, they didn't bother painting these parts, so they just kind of stick out. There's also off-color areas all over him. The crotch is different than the hips, but that makes sense why. The neck is different than the body, and that part is inexcusable. And his pec windows are a pathetic powder blue, so they're just really flat. In spite of all that, I'd say this is still very nicely done. For a Legends figure, he's got more paint than some deluxes, even if not all of it works out. They were definitely trying to give you your money's worth on the look of the robot mode, that's for sure. The butt kibble is a tad aggressively bad though. At least this time, it's just a cluster of parts and not like Optimus has rubber butt cheeks. The head is wonderful for a tiny guy. Yes, they didn't paint his face, but impressively enough, they did get the eyes, and those are minuscule. As far as I can tell, the head was cast in one piece, so it's extra impressive that they managed to accomplish that. He comes with his gun, and I don't care much for this thing. It's doing that interesting idea where they gave it a peg sized for a regular figure on top of the peg sized for this one. But the end result is that the gun looks awful with this Prime, and like a worthless pea shooter on anything deluxe sized or bigger. It looks to be a good idea with the upcoming Megatron, but here it doesn't work out. As you might have guessed based on that intro, posing on this little guy is actually shockingly good, and they called the Armada version Bendy Prime. With the exception of ankle tilts and wrist swivels, I think this has the Earthrise Optimus beat. He's got backwards butterfly, but that's basically standard on a Prime. It's honestly more weird when one doesn't have those joints. OP leader. He's got a neck flap, and while that's not pretty, it lets him look up and down like most Primes can't. You can fake a waist swivel at the pecs. Earthrise Prime did have a waist, but it was incredibly limited by the rubber booty, so I'd say they come out about equal. And this Prime has an ab crunch, so get fucked every other Prime except for the Magic Square. Do you have an ab crunch? Meanwhile, Siege Prime laughs with his less valuable, though admittedly rarer back crunch. Also, you can bring the gun into the posing and get him to do this. Prime don't need no chair. Chairs are a luxury of the before times. A warrior only needs a tool of violence to rest. Transformation. Transformation on this guy is not the smoothest. It could be a bit fun if the tabs were a little more secure. It's got a good bit of the Play-Doh factor where you're just kind of squishing it till it looks right with no satisfaction, and getting the thighs plugged in is basically a lost cause. But what's here isn't awful, though it does pull the ever-hated fake grill nonsense. Also, getting the head out for robot mode is a bit troublesome. You can do it if you're able to get your fingers in there just right, but most of the time, I just use his gun. The end result is the most flawed aspect of this figure. It's not terrible, but it's knobbly. The cab is very tall, and the feet blatantly stick out of the back. It looks tolerable, but I won't be keeping it in this mode. This is a decent figure for $10. There's not an aspect of this thing that I hate, and it pretty much crushes the 2-inch tall Optimus look. Unlike the Earthrise that is twice as expensive as it should be while not nailing any aspect. At 5 times the price, third party can get you a better Legend scale Optimus, but I think what we got here was pretty good. And that's not half of what I have to say, but it's enough of what I have to say. And if you enjoyed this video, then please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you'd like to take it a step further, then please share this video with any friend you think may be interested. I hope you all enjoyed listening to me waste your time.